Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there, not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show. It's the show that's all about life's balance. I greet you in the name of Ahaya, Bahashem Yeshaya, Warawak Kwadash. This is the show that we cover so many different issues, but thank you for tuning in to the show. Let me give you my information. You can watch the show every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on BronxNet at bronxnet.org online. Also on your cable channels, channel 951 or 2137. It's on the Inspire channel. Also, check me out on YouTube at the Crystal Jones TV show. Subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. And also check me out on Instagram. You could go on there and see the daily scripture readings that are very encouraging and, thought-provoking for you. Also, you can check me out on HebrewConnect.tv. All right. So we're going to get right into the scripture of the day. Today, we're coming from Matthew, the 24th chapter, verses 1 through 14. All right. It has a lot to do with what's going on today. Now, here in Matthew 24, Jesus was talking to his disciples. His Hebrew name is Yeshaya, but I'm going to use the term Jesus so that people understand who I'm talking about. So Jesus went out and he departed from the temple. They were coming out of the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. So they were marveling at how beautiful the temple was and all of that. And Jesus said to them, "See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down." So he was prophesying something that was going to happen. In other words, that temple was going to be destroyed at some point in history. So his disciples are saying, okay, he's prophesying something. What is he talking about? So in the third verse, it says, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives. The disciples came unto him privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be?" So they waited till they were apart from the people at the temple, and just him and his disciples were together. They said, "Tell us, when is this going to happen, that the temple is going to be overthrown? And what shall be the sign of your coming?" Because they know that the Messiah was supposed to come and he would restore all things. And also it was prophesied that he would die for the nation of Israel. And then at some point in time, he would come back again and restore all things. So they wanted to know, what shall be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? So they wanted to know, what was the prophecy he was talking about? What would be the sign of his second return? And what's the signs of the end of the world? What's going to be happening in the end of the world? So Yeshaya, or Jesus, answered and said unto them, "Take heed that no man deceive you." Number one, don't be deceived. Why? Because in the 5th verse, it says, "Many shall come in my name, saying, I'm Christ, and shall deceive many." You see people, there was some Caucasian man in Africa going around saying that he was Christ, and they had a parade for him and whatnot. And if I'm not mistaken, this man eventually died of some kind of disease or something like that. But you saw the videos online where this man's dancing around, and he, looks like a white European man. And that's not right according to the Bible anyway. So, how did they believe that this man was Christ, right? So it said, "Many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many." So he said, don't be deceived, because there's going to be a lot of people coming saying that they're Christ, or they're going to come up with religions and things saying that this is Christ. Just like they changed Christianity when, to so that we would forget our history, right? In the days of Constantinople, they changed Christ to a European man with blonde hair and blue eyes. And the person's face that they used, of course, was Cesare Borgia, who was, he was a part of some Italian family that were caught up in like real criminal type things, right? But they were able to deceive the people and to make our people who are Israelites, since we were in captivity because we fled when Vespasian and them had thrown our people out of Jerusalem for the last time, and we fled to the other areas of Africa. And then, of course, eventually we were brought over here in cargo ships and stuff like that, like it tells you in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, right? So then they had to come up in the Renaissance period to make it look like, okay, Christ was a white man and all of this kind of stuff, right? To deceive us so that we would think that we were the Gentile nations and that we were supposed to be enslaved people. We were never supposed to be on top, so that they could be the people on top. So they did the switch, the switcheroo, right? And then some of their people came over to our land from where the Khazarian kingdom and pretended to be us, right? But now that we have all the information and whatnot, a lot of them are coming forward and saying, yeah, the blacks and the Latinos, some of the Latinos, and because we were spread into every nation, all right? And there's no other group of people like that. So now that we know our history for sure, and we know that we look different, because I always tell you all who we are, the different tribes, right? We're Jacob's children. So we are, Judah. There's no way that these people could call themselves from that name Judah, because they wouldn't even come from that line of people. And when they check their bloodline doesn't even match. Ours does. And they will tell you now, a lot of them are telling you, yes, the Negroes, are the tribe of Judah. When we came here on slave ships, some of our ships said Judah. All right. And, we have all of the 12 tribes are different nations of people of color, right? We have Judah, that's the Negroes. We have Reuben, a lot of the blacks in Australia, the tribe of Gad. You have the North American Indians and a lot of the Indian tribes, Asher, Colombia, Brazil, all of those places where you have people of color. A lot of those people are Israelites. Naphtali, you have Hawaii, the Fiji Islands, the Filipinos, the Vietnamese, those people of color, they're Israelites. Manasseh, the Cubans, Simeon, the Dominicans, Levi, the Haitians, Issachar, the Mexicans, Zebulun, the people in Panama and Costa Rica, of color, Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans, all right, Benjamin, or the West Indians. We all look different because we were scattered. But now that we know who we are and the Lord has awakened us, they're afraid. So a lot of what you're seeing going on is that fight, that struggle, because Esau knows that this is it for his kingdom. His kingdom, as you can see, is coming down because Jacob has to arise now. We are Jacob's children. We're the 12 tribes. We're the ones who, when Christ returns, is going to put back in the land as he reigns and rules. He's not going to be up for election. He's not going to go around having us saying, vote for Christ, vote for Christ. It's not going to be that. He is going to be seated by God himself as our reigning governor. And the land will be brought back to peace. And we will go into the earth and bring the people to the true worship of God. That's what we were chosen for. We were chosen to do that and judge the fallen angels. All right. So he says to them, you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. What's going on now, right? Esau on Esau crime. The war that's going on now, that's Esau on Esau fighting in that land over there. Okay. And what's that about? Okay. They know now that the gig is up. They cannot continue to pretend that they're us. So they want to get back their empire again, their Khazarian empire. So that they can now claim that the Holy Land is over there. And you know that's ridiculous because it's not over in that area, right? But this is what's really going on, right? You will hear wars and rumors of wars, and eventually all the nations are going to get into these wars. And guess what nation they're going to eventually come after? Because this nation is Babylon. This is Babylon from the Bible. This is right where yes, eventually this nation will not be the nation that we know, right? You will hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. Don't be troubled by it, but know and prepare yourself. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. We still got a lot we got to go through. It's going to get worse. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines. You hear what I said? There shall be famines. These people think they're struggling over baby formula, which, what did they do in Adam and Eve's day? Did they have baby formula? Did they have Kmart, BJ's, and all of that? No. All right. There are definitely natural foods to feed your baby. All right. So we're going to have to go back to basics. It's not going to be the same type of thing. We're so westernized or whatever that we really believe that the kids are going to starve if they don't have the food from the supermarket. Okay. We're going to have to have our own farms and all of that kind of stuff. We got to go back to nature. That's the way God wanted it to be in the first place. All this other processed garbage is going to end. All right. There will be famines and what? Pestilences. All right. There's going to be pestilence. There's going to be earthquakes in different places. It says diverse places, meaning different places, right? So the pestilences, the sicknesses, and all of that kind of stuff, that's going to arise. Nothing but the mercy of God will bring us out of that. I don't care what you get, as they tell you, is a remedy, because that's not going to be a remedy. When it gets down to it, you're going to see how many people are going to be negatively affected because of these so-called remedies. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. Sound familiar? They're going to say that you have these afflictions. And if you believe them, because they're constantly every 2 minutes telling you, oh, you probably got this. Oh, you probably got that. Oh, I mean, how many injections can you get? Every 5 minutes, there's a new one, right? Like, that's not healthy. So they're going to deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, because you can't take all that crap into your body and not really get sick. And you will be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Christ was hated. We who stand with Christ will be hated. We've always been hated. But he said, if they hate you, know that they hated me before they hated you. All right. They're going to continue with these different parties. One party pretending that they're on our side, and the other party, saying that the other party is doing us wrong. It's the same devil on both sides, y'all. Neither party is for us. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right. They're not for our cause. They never were. When we got here, when we came off the ships, they weren't for us, and they still ain't for us today. Wake up and smell the coffee, because it is burning. Okay. So, we will be hated of all nations for Christ's sake. And then shall many be offended and shall what? Betray one another. There's going to be betrayal right in the camp amongst our own people. There's going to be betrayal of one another. That's why you need to know the Lord for yourself. Know the word so that you know how to operate and move in these days and times, because it's going to get worse. Right? And they shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. So you see these false prophets telling people to go outside and eat the grass, and some of them charging $700 so that you could get to heaven. and all this kind of nonsense that, they're coming up with. All right. So you see that happening, many false prophets. And because iniquity shall abound, iniquity, sin, now it's a free fall. You could do anything. You could do anything that you feel like doing. They trying to have all these different agendas to make us feel bad if we believe in a man and a woman being married together. They want the children. They want to teach your children to be of other, genders and stuff like that. Stuff that they shouldn't even be teaching your kids in school. They should be teaching 1, 2, 3s and ABCs, not all this other garbage. All right. And nobody's really standing up and saying anything about it. No, I'm not for that. I believe in a man and a woman being married. All right. But yet they'll say we're offending them. Well, you offend me. Don't approach me telling me that stuff because I'm not for it. I don't want it. If you want it, you go ahead and you do it. Right. But it's all in the mix of everything, and it's getting worse. Now, they telling you can't say this and you can't, and all of this foolery because people are not standing up, right? So it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, because now you're desensitized. You're desensitized to accept all of this foolishness, right? So, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. We've got to endure through this stuff that's coming up, because they're going to keep on with more nonsense, more foolishness. All of these different laws and things is to try to even bring us back into slavery. All right. You notice they trying to take these things away from us. They see that now a lot of our people that were wrongfully accused of things and had their sentences overturned have been rewarded monies because they lost years. Some of our men were in jails for 40, 50 years for stuff they didn't even do. So now you got these high courts that are saying, well, you can't do that anymore, right? You got the other people coming up with other things that they want to overturn. And all of that is to bring us back into bondage. Wake up, all right? And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, because these people are going to give an account before God for all of this. So what you're hearing me say, if you are on the side that's against God, you heard it right here at the Crystal Jones Show, and you're going to give an account to God. I don't care who you are, whether you're Jew or Gentile, you are going to give an account to God for the things that you do, whether good or bad in your body. There's going to come a reckoning day, and you're going to look the Lord right in his face, and he's going to show you all the times that he told you this was nonsense. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. Everybody's going to know about it. And then shall the end come. All right. So take that into consideration. Pray about it, because in the end, you want to be on the right side. All right. Now, today's news, we're going to go back to school safety. All right. There are different shootings going on in the world. In the schools, all right. Some of the shootings we're seeing, this is not the first, we haven't had just one shooting happening in this nation, all right. It's happening in different areas of the nation, right? So what I'm seeing is these schools are left unprotected. I'm going to say it again. These schools are left unprotected. We need more school safety. All right. If you're going to be teaching these kids in the schools, you need school safety. Nobody should be able to just walk up in your school with guns and kill people. That's not how it works. Even when I was in school, you couldn't just walk up in the school like that. You had to come past somebody had to be there, or the door was locked. You couldn't just walk up in the school like, yeah, and that's happening too often. All right. So the school safety needs to be done not just for the school, but if the police are going to be the ones that are the first responders, for God's sake, they need to be trained, because a lot of times you're seeing when these people arrive on the scene, they're scared. They don't know, like, whoa, we never thought this would happen here in this West Segunda, and I think a lot of times we as people tend to get relaxed and think, well, that'll never happen here. This won't happen. To tell you the truth, every place, every school, every job, every place needs to know safety, because you don't know who's going to go off in these days and time. The train, the bus, at your job, at the schools, whatever. What is going to be your safety program for that? But especially these babies, they can't protect themselves. These are little kids, So if you're going to teach these kids, be responsible. Have school safety, do drills. Some of the schools do drills, So don't be the next school coming up with the same nonsense about, well, we didn't know. And this person just showed up out of nowhere. Yes, that's normally how it works. Get a clue. Come on, y'all. It's happening. People are flipping out. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in America. All right. And we need more school safety. Don't have people rolling up in your school and your doors ain't locked. And have whoever's supposed to be the first responders, good Lord, have them trained so that they ain't scared half to death and standing outside for an hour or whatever, trying to figure out, oh my gosh, what should we do? By that time, so many people will be shot and dead because they're scared. So whoever's in charge, be in charge. Train your teams. Train the school safety team at the school. Train the kids what to do when that happens. And also train your first responders teams. All right. So now we're going to move on to our segment of missing children, our missing youth, right? So let's see, who's our first one? Okay, we have Kashaya Yehuda, right? She's the first one on here. She's been missing since June 23rd of 2020. All right, judging by her name, she must be a Hebrew Israelite, because that's definitely a Hebrew Israelite name. So not that, all kids are, important. I'm just recognizing that probably her family knows that they're Hebrew Israelites. So she's been missing since June 23rd of 2020. All right. She is missing from Cohoes, New York. She is 8 years old now. She's a Black female. She has black hair color, brown eye color. She's about 4'6", and she weighs about 75 pounds. Okay. So if you see her, if you know anything about her disappearance, please call 1-800-HELP THE LOST, which is 843-5678. It's 1-800-HELP THE LOST. 1-800-843-5678. You can also go to missingkids.org and inform your local police department. You might not want to try to police that situation. Get help for her. Okay? All right. Now, our next missing youth would be Javon Green. He's been missing since May 22nd of this year, 2022. Okay, he is missing from Mystic Beach, New York. He's 17 years old now. He's a Black male. He has black hair. His eye color is black. And he's about, his height is 5'7", and he weighs about 200 pounds. All right, don't hesitate, please. Like I said, 1-800-THE-LOST or 843-5678, and the local police Mystic Beach, New York is where this young man is missing from. All right. The next person that we have is Joanna Batista. She's been missing since May 13th of this year, 2022. She's missing from New York, right, which would be Manhattan. She's a Hispanic female. Her hair color is brown. Her eye color is brown. She's about 5'5", and she weighs about 150 pounds. All right. You know anything about her disappearance? Again, 1-800-THE-LOST, missingkids.org, the local police department. Contact authorities. All right. Okay. And next and last, but person that we have Jordan Warren. She's been missing since May 17th of 2022. All right. She is from Williamsville, New York. She's 16 years old. She's a Black female. Her hair color is brown. Her eye color is brown. She's about 6 feet tall. She weighs about 175 pounds. All right. You know anything about her disappearance? You've seen her. 1-800-843-5678, missingkids.org, and your local police, Williamsville, New York. All right. So my prayer is that all of these young people, all of these people that are announced, my prayer is that they be found and returned back to their families safely. In the name of the Most High, my prayer is a safe return. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to our health and wellness. I've been talking about trying natural plants for shampoo. All right, the avocado. All right, try that. There, you could go online and look at videos on how to mix the avocado and make a shampoo out of it for your hair. All right, especially for Black women, a lot of times we need to get away from some of these other shampoos and things on the market because they're not good for our hair. It seems like more natural products work for us. The aloe vera plant is another one that you may want to try. All right. There are other plants that you can try for shampoo. All right. So I'm not saying that it definitely will help you, but I know that it's helped many of us. So it's just a suggestion to, try these things out. Okay. That way, natural products. All right. Now, business tips. Again, we're going to talk about doing outdoor events. Try sports events. Maybe you can do some kind of sports event in your community to promote your business, whatever it is. Sponsor your local youth basketball. In the summertime, the youth do a lot of sports and things like that. Maybe you can do some kind of event, including local teams or, different things, but outdoor events, because now that the weather's warmer, people may want to be outdoors and you may be able to get, more people involved in what it is that you do. All right. Okay. Now we're down to our credo now. We're going to say Shama Yasharala. Ahaya Alahaya Nawa. Ahaya Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God. The Lord, he is one. Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter, in the 4th verse. Okay. Of course, we are continuing our teachings on Esau and Jacob, right? Okay. And we're still in the book of Jasher, the 44th chapter and the 74th verse. All right. We know what's going on here, which is we're talking about Joseph and how he was betrayed by his brothers. He was sold eventually into Egypt. When he got there, he was favored, but the man that he was working for, Potiphar, who was a prince, his wife liked Joseph because Joseph was very handsome. She tried to seduce him. It didn't work out. So she schemed up something where she tore his clothes to make it look like he raped her. And of course, that didn't work out too good for Joseph, right? Joseph had to go through a lot for the Lord to humble him because he would be a great man. Eventually, he would be a prince in Egypt, and he would save Egypt from famine. Okay, just like we're getting ready to go through a famine, and the Lord is going to bless us too as Israelites to help many people stay alive, including our people. All right. So now we're looking at how the priests were now talking to Potiphar, because Potiphar's wife lied and said that Joseph had raped her and all of this kind of stuff. So Potiphar now wants to get rid of Joseph and all of this kind of stuff. And Joseph is really going through because, you know, he's been betrayed by his brethren. So he's not in his land anymore. He's no longer, you know, he's a Hebrew. So he's no longer in the land of Canaan, which is today's Israel, right? So he's been sold by his brothers. The brothers lied to the father and said that an evil beast came and ate him and all kind of crazy stuff, right? So if we're going to go to the apocryphal book of Jasher, so it says, we're, you know, going on with Joseph, what was going on with him. And the priest said unto Potiphar, send, we pray thee, and let them bring before us Joseph's torn garment. So now they wanted to see, did Joseph really try to rape Potiphar's wife, because she lied and said he did, right? So the priests want to be sure, right? Maybe she's done something before, or just they don't believe it because they know that Joseph hasn't had any problems up until now. So why now would he just, you know, come out and try to do something to somebody, right? And the priest said unto Potiphar, send, we pray thee, and let them bring before us Joseph's torn garment, and let us see the tear in it. And if it shall be that the tear is in front of the garment, then his face must have been opposite to her, and she must have caught hold of him to come to her. And with deceit did thy wife do all that she has spoken. So you see, the priests don't believe fully that Joseph really did this, right? Isn't that something? Right? So what must that woman have been doing over there in that kingdom, right? In that castle or wherever they live, right? And they brought Joseph's garment before the priests, who were judges. And they saw, and behold, the tear was in front of Joseph. And all the judging priests knew that she had pressed him. And they said, the judgment of death is not due to this slave, for he has done nothing. But his judgment is that he be placed in the prison house on account of the report. Just like today. Now, they knew this man didn't do anything, but just to satisfy their wickedness, they wanted to still throw him in jail. All right. And that's a lot of what happens to our people today. The same thing, right? So only in this case, like I said the other week, this is black on black crime, because you got, these are black Egyptians, and Joseph is a black man. He's a Hebrew Israelite, right? But do you see how back then it didn't matter that you were black or white? You were known by your nation. All of that other crap started over here in this country when we were bought in slavery, so that they would so-call themselves outnumbering us at one point in time, because we were growing. Because wherever we go, we grow, we thrive, we multiply, right? So over here in this land, to have more people against us, when they started inviting people over from their nations in Europe and stuff like that, then they started calling themselves white people. But before that, they weren't known as that. They were known as Italians, you know, all of those different nations, French, German, Russian, all of this kind of stuff, right? Turkish, all of that. They were known by their nations, all right? But then they started coming up with this white people, black people stuff. There's no such thing as white people. There's really no such thing as black people. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's how that stuff got made up, to come against our people, right? So now, the judgment of death is not due to this slave, for he has done nothing. But this judgment is that he be placed in the prison. His judgment is, that he be placed in the prison house on account of the report, which through him has gone forth against thy wife, right? Just because she said that it happened, that's what happened. Same thing I told y'all the other week with Emmett Till, right? They lied and said that this boy did whatever they claim he did against this white woman, right? Because she said so, right? And later on, then basically it looks like she said really she hadn't told the truth about it. Some craziness, right? Same thing that goes on today, right? And Potiphar heard their words, and he placed him in the prison house, the place where the king's prisoners are confined. And Joseph was in the house of confinement how many? 12 years. 12. Doesn't that sound like our brothers today that are in prison for 40, 50 years and because somebody lied and said that they tried to do this or that or the other, but it was based on the color of their skin, right? And then next thing you know, they're being let out because some lawyer or somebody could read between the lines and was honest and said, let me get this person out of here because it's not right, right? But in this case, this is black on black crime going on in our the land that we're the continent that we're originally from, right? So, and notwithstanding this, his master's wife did not turn from him, and she did not cease from speaking to him day after day to hearken to her. So she's so wicked that after this man was put in jail, she still was running behind this man. And at the end of 3 months, Zelicah continued going to Joseph to the house of confinement day by day. She was going to the brother in jail. What a wicked woman. That's the spirit of a witch. That's really. And she enticed him to hearken to her. And Zelicah said unto Joseph, how long wilt thou remain in this house? But hearken now to my voice, and I will bring thee out of this house. She's so desperate that she's telling him that if he hearken to her and have, commit adultery on her part with him, that she's going to get him out of prison. What a wicked woman, right? And Joseph answered her, saying, it is better for me to remain in this house than to hearken to thy words, to sin against God. He knew that's a sin against not only the person, Potiphar, who he worked for, but ultimately it's a sin against God. And she said unto him, if thou wilt not perform my wish, I will pluck out thine eyes and add fetters to thy feet, and will deliver thee into the hands of them whom thou didst not know before. So now she's threatening to basically kill this man because he's not hearkening to have sex with her, right? So the 79th verse says, and Joseph answered her and said, behold, the God of the whole earth is able to deliver me from all that you can do to me. For he openeth the eyes of the blind and looseth those that are bound, and preserveth all strangers who are unacquainted with the land. So God is merciful. So no matter what people do to you, God is able to bring you out. And Joseph had to stand on his belief. He had to stand on what Jacob told him. Jacob was his father. Jacob taught him the ways of the Lord. This woman is in the ways of the devil. She is straight coming from hell with this stuff. She's a wicked witch, right? So now in the 80th verse, and when Zelicah was unable to persuade Joseph, to hearken to her, she left off going to entice him. And Joseph was still confined in the house of confinement. He's in jail. And Jacob, the father of Joseph, and all his brethren who were in the land of Canaan, still mourned and wept in those days on account of Joseph. Because remember, his brothers lied and said that he got killed by a wild animal or some stupidness, right? So poor Jacob is over there crying over his kid. He don't even realize the young boy is in jail because his brothers sold him because they were jealous of him, because the father did show more favor toward Joseph, because Joseph was the son of his old age and of the woman that he loved, right? So For Jacob refused to be comforted for his son Joseph, and Jacob cried aloud and wept and mourned all those days. So all this time, Jacob was just mourning over his son, years going by, still crying. So let's go to the 45th chapter now of the book of Jasher. And it was at that time in that year, which is the year of Joseph's going down to Egypt after his brothers had sold him. Remember what I read to you before, that people will betray you. That Reuben, the son of Jacob, went to Timnah and took unto him for a wife Eliram, the daughter of Avi, the Canaanite. And he came to her. Now, our people weren't supposed to be mixed in with the Canaanites. So you see why we eventually lost the land, because our people was hard-headed and crazy. We're not supposed to mix in with other races. Do you see all this stuff they're doing now on television? Every commercial is mixed people. That's not supposed to be. You're supposed to, your nation of people is supposed to continue. We're not supposed to be mixed in with all these different people. You're not supposed that, no. How is your nation to grow? But this is to wipe us out as a people, and our people don't get it. They still going on these commercials doing this silly stuff. Stop it. All right? That's not what God wanted us to do. We're not supposed to mix in with these other nations. All right? So here we go with who is it? Reuben. You know, he mixing in with the Canaanites, and the Canaanites are the people that are of the Nephilim seed. Those are the ones that the angels came down and the fallen angels came down and cohabitated with women. They had sex with them and had children that were giants and stuff like that. That's why you see the different cartoons and stuff about giants in the land and aliens and all that crap. There's none of that. They were Nephilim people. Okay, and they got like that because angels, who are of a whole different group of people, were cohabitating, having sex with women. They were not supposed to do that. That's God didn't create. Angels didn't need to have families. We did, because God made us for the earth, and the angels are made for the heavenlies, and they're supposed to protect us and lead us. But we had groups of them that were lusting after the women. All right. So now you have Reuben. He's out of order here. All right. He's marrying Timnah. He went to he's marrying Eliram, the daughter of Avi the Canaanite, and he came to her. And Eliram, the wife of Reuben, conceived and bare him Hannah, Palu, Shezron, Carmi, 4 sons, and Simeon his brother took his sister Dinah. Okay, now Simeon is out of order, right? For a wife. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He wasn't the one out of order. It's Reuben. Okay, because Simeon his brother took his sister Dinah for a wife. That was when we were creating the nations of people. So there was no law against what I guess they would call incest. Different if you were creating a nation of people, then if you had a sister, basically probably she had another mother, because at that time you had some of the men that had several wives, but these were rich men, so they did make provision for these women and these children. But it was because we were creating nations of people. After that, it was considered incest. So today we shouldn't be doing that, because there are so many people within our nation. So there's no reason for us to be, having children with our brothers and sisters, right? So you have Simeon, his brother, took his sister Dinah for a wife, and she bare unto him Memuel, Yamin, Ohad, Jachin, and Zochar, 5 sons, right? And afterward, he afterward came to Bunah, the Canaanitish woman, the same as Bunah, whom Simeon took captive from the city of Shechem. And Bunah was before Dinah and attended upon her. And Simeon came to her, and she bare unto him Saul. So Simeon did sin. Like I said, they weren't supposed to be with these Canaanite people. And Judah went at that time to Adullam, and he came to a man of Adullam, and his name was Hira. And Judah saw there the daughter of a man from Canaan, and her name was Eliath, the daughter of Shua. And he took her and came to her, and Eliah bare unto Judah Onan, and Shiloh, 3 sons. You see, they're mixing in with these people. And Levi and Issachar went to the land of the east, and they took unto them for wives the daughters of Jobab, the son of Joktan, the son of Eber. And Jobab, the son of Joktan, had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Adinah, and the name of the younger was Arita. Now, I'm going to go past some of these these genealogies because it's kind of long, right? So I'm going to move on past that, and I'm going to go down to let's see. I'm going to move on to so that I could go back to the story of Joseph. Okay, so we're going to move on to the 46th chapter, all right, of Jasher, the 46th chapter. Now it says, in those days, Joseph was still confined in the prison house in the land of Egypt. Another time I'll go through all the genealogies and things like that so you can see who's related to who and all of that. But basically the story is about Joseph, so I'm going to continue on with Joseph. In those days, Joseph was still confined in the prison house in the land of Egypt. At that time, the attendants of Pharaoh was standing before him, the chief of the butlers and the chief of the bakers, which belonged to the king of Egypt. And the butler took wine and placed it before the king to drink, and the baker placed bread before the king to eat. And the king drank of the wine and ate of the bread, he and his servants and ministers that ate at the king's table. While they were eating and drinking, the butler and the baker remained there, and Pharaoh's ministers found many flies in the wine, which the butler had brought, and stones of nitre were found in the baker's bread. And the captain of the guard placed Joseph as an attendant on Pharaoh's officers. And Pharaoh's officers were in confinement 1 year, right? So even in the jail, you can't stop our people. Even in the jail, the captain of the guard placed Joseph. He's in jail for supposedly raping Potiphar's wife. But the captain of the guard in the jail placed Joseph as an attendant on Pharaoh's officers. He was over the king's officers while he was in jail. When God blesses you, no one can stop it. He may put you down. He may make it, possible for you to go through something because he's teaching you something. But you will still be at the top in some kind of way. God will let you know that he is still with you. All right. The captain of the guard placed Joseph as an attendant on Pharaoh's officers, and Pharaoh's officers were in confinement 1 year. And at the end of the year, they both dreamed dreams in one night. This is the butler and the guy with the wine goblet. They were in prison, and Joseph was in charge of them because of the flies and the stuff that they found in the bread and all of that kind of stuff, because they figured they must have probably been trying to kill the king, right? So at the end of the year, they both dreamed dreams in one night in the place of confinement where they were. And in the morning, Joseph came to them to attend upon them as usual. And he saw them, and behold, their countenances were dejected and sad. And Joseph asked them, why are your countenances sad and dejected this day? And they said, we dreamed a dream, and there was no one to interpret it. And Joseph said unto them, relate, I pray you, your dream unto me, and God shall give you an answer of peace as you desire. Because remember, Joseph used to dream dreams when he was a child back home in Canaan, which was Israel, right? Joseph used to dream dreams about his future, and he didn't understand them, but he would brag to his brothers, and they couldn't stand him, right? So the reason that they sold him into slavery, crazy, right? So now he's saying, okay, Let me know your dreams, and I'll interpret them as God give me the utterance. And the butler related his dream unto Joseph, and he said, I saw in my dream, and behold, a large vine was before me, and upon that vine I saw 3 branches. And the vine speedily blossomed and reached a great height, and its clusters were ripened and became grapes, right? And I took the grapes and pressed them in a cup and placed it in Pharaoh's hand, and he drank. And Joseph said unto him, the 3 branches that were upon the vine are 3 days. Yet within 3 days the king will order thee to be brought out, and he will restore thee to thy office. And thou shalt give the king his wine to drink as at first, as you know you used to do when you were his butler. But let me find favor in thy sight, that thou shalt remember me to Pharaoh when it goes well with you, and do kindness unto me, and get me brought forth from this prison, for I was stolen away from the land of Canaan, and was sold for a slave in this place. So Joseph is like, I interpreted your dream. It's a good dream. The Lord is going to restore you within 3 days, and you're going to be doing the same thing you were, the butler. But when you get there, don't forget me, because I'm not a slave. I was sold into slavery. So get me out of here. So, and also that which was told thee concerning my master's wife is false. That Joseph is saying, I was falsely put here, for they placed me in this dungeon for naught. And the butler answered Joseph, saying, if the king deal well with me as at first, as you have interpreted to me, I will do all that you desire and get you brought out of this dungeon. So here you have the butler promising he gonna do this. All right. And the baker, seeing that Joseph had accurately interpreted the butler's dream, also approached and related the whole of his dream to Joseph, right? And he said unto him, in my dream I saw, and behold, 3 white baskets upon my head, right? And I looked, and behold, there were in the uppermost basket all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh. And behold, the birds were eating them from off my head. That don't sound good. And Joseph said unto him, the 3 baskets which thou didst see are 3 days. Yet within 3 days Pharaoh will take off thy head. He's going to be beheaded, and hang thee upon a tree. And the birds will eat thy flesh. Okay, so listen to this. They will take off your head and hang you on a tree. Doesn't that sound like what they did to our people in the South? Okay, in slavery. And the birds will eat thy flesh from off thee, as thou sawest in thy dream. Ooh, that ain't a good dream, right? So now the baker doesn't get a good prophecy at all. In those days the queen was about to be delivered, and upon that day she bare a son unto the king of Egypt. And they proclaimed that the king had gotten his firstborn son, and all the people of Egypt, together with the officers and servants of Pharaoh, rejoiced greatly. And upon the 3rd day of his birth, Pharaoh made a feast for his officers and servants, for the host of the land of Zoar and of the land of Egypt. And all the people of Egypt and the servants of Pharaoh came to eat and drink with the king at the feast of his son, and to rejoice at the king's rejoicing. And all the officers of the king and his servants were rejoicing at that time for 8 days. They used to, man, they ain't play. They was partying for 8 days, right, at the feast. And they made merry with all sorts of musical instruments, with timbrels, dances in the king's house for 8 days. And the butler to whom Joseph had interpreted his dream forgot Joseph, and he did not mention him to the king as he had promised. For this thing was from the Lord, in order to punish Joseph, because he had trusted in man. So the Lord didn't want Joseph telling the butler to restore him. No, God will restore you. He will fight against your enemies. Don't trust in man. And that's what our people keep doing. They trusting in this political party and that political party to deliver us, to give us reparations for building this country and all of that kind of stuff. Our restoration is not going to come through the government. I'm saying it again. God will cause them to do what he needs us to do, but it'll probably be just before we leave this land, because we're not going to be here forever, y'all. We got to go back to the continent, because when Christ returns, He's going to bring us back into Jerusalem, and he will rule and reign there, and we will be with him. So on our way out, just like we went out of Egypt, we going to come out of Babylon. All right. And we going to have much substance. And it may be 2 or 3 years before we leave that we'll get everything that we're supposed to get, because the Lord is giving these people time to do what they're supposed to do. And if they don't do it, he's going to cause something to come upon them where they have to do it. It won't be anything man could do, this party, that party, the black political, all of that's not going to do it. It's going to be the hand of God. Watch. All right. So, and all the officers of the king and his servants were rejoicing for 8 days. They have musical instruments. And verse 19, and the butler to whom Joseph had interpreted his dream, they forgot Joseph. And in 20th verse, and Joseph remained after this in the prison house 2 years until he had completed the 12 years. All right. I may have a little more time. I'm not sure, but I can go into Jasher, the 47th chapter, if I have a little more time. I'm not sure. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, was still living in those days in the land of Canaan. He was very aged. He was 180 years old. And Esau, his son, the brother of Jacob, Esau, who's Esau? Esau is basically the European nation. Jacob is the Israelites, the 12 tribes, right? So we're going to continue in that next time that we come back to this same teaching, okay? Because we're going through the patriarchal history so you can understand who we are, where we came from, how we came about, where we are now. So I read to you earlier what Christ said to look out for in the end days, all right? And so that's how all of that connecting together. All right, God bless you. Thank you for tuning into the Crystal Jones Show. You can check me out every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. bronxnet.org, channel 951 2137 on your cable channels. Also, check me out on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. Also, check me out on Instagram, okay, and HebrewConnect.tv. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Kwam Yasharala, share this. Tell somebody about it. Rise up, Israel. All 12 tribes, rise up. God bless you. God keep you. You is my prayer, and you stay balanced.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn. And she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
But you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a course online.
You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.